Hello and welcome to the Angus Report, a news program geared toward cattle producers. I'm Bob Cervera.
And I'm Paige Wallace. From American Angus Association headquarters in St. Joseph, Missouri, we bring you the week's top headlines, including an update on the 2012 Farm Bill.
We discuss the latest trends in beef exports.
We bring you a new look at marbling development.
And an Illinois cattle show celebrates a big milestone.
This is the Angus Report.
Our top story for the week: the Senate passed its version of the 2012 Farm Bill, voting 64 to 35 in favor of the bipartisan legislation that exceeds 1,000 pages and includes more than 70 amendments. The Senate bill would shift farm support from direct subsidy payments to crop insurance and trim overall spending by $23 billion. Legislators cut funding for conservation programs by 10%. Food stamps account for almost 80% of the bill's $969 billion price tag over the next 10 years. Now, the House of Representatives will consider its version of the Farm Bill when it returns from recess July 11th. Indications show the House may call for deeper cuts to food assistance and nutrition programs. Once finalized, the House and Senate will compromise on a final Farm Bill that will require the President's signature. The current bill expires September 30th. Of course, we'll continue coverage of the Farm Bill in future episodes.
The Environmental Protection Agency has released its long-awaited proposed dust standards. The EPA previously suggested it would greatly increase its regulation of coarse particulate matter through the National Ambient Air Quality Standard. However, after initial controversy, the recently released EPA proposal would maintain current standards once finalized. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association reports the finalized standard will be published in December. Meanwhile, a related Farm Dust Regulation Prevention Act, which would exempt farmers and ranchers from EPA dust regulations, has passed the U.S. House of Representatives. The Senate has not yet voted on its version of the legislation.
The latest information released by the U.S. Meat Export Federation show positive trends in beef exports. April exports exceeded the first quarter of the year and remained level with April 2011. Exports to Russia were the largest of the year, pushing 20% higher in volume and 92% higher in value. Exports to Central and South America were also up substantially in both volume and value.
You look at the value per head on the beef side of what's contributed to the cutout from exports, and really it's an arithmetic measure of total revenue exported divided by fed cattle slaughtered with the cows taken out. The trend has been well below $200 a head several years ago. We set a record in April of $233 a head in April of 2012. So you can see that the values attributable just to exports is rising dramatically. We're exporting today roughly 14% of our cattle production. There's opportunity to export more and an opportunity to grow this cutout even higher. You've got generic population growth in general. The other thing is that what we're looking at is a lot of these emerging economies around the world are starting to see dramatic GDP growth. So you're emerging into the middle class. And of course, the big thing that's driving the growth is that there's a big demand for U.S. high-quality grain-fed beef in general. The global population base is going to need to eat, down the road. And who's going to benefit from that? It's going to be low-cost producers of high-quality food products. And, when you talk about high-quality beef from the U.S., you're talking about something that is very unique and very high quality that a lot of our competitors cannot duplicate.
Severe weather season is here, and now a new smartphone app could help you stay safe before the storm. Storm Shield is a customizable weather app that allows customers to take the assurance of a weather radio on the road. The app provides text alerts and audible message to subscribers' phones during severe weather. It sells for about $5 and is available for both Apple and Android devices. More than 20 young cattlemen and women gathered at the American Angus Association headquarters June 17th through the 20th in St. Joseph, Missouri for the annual Beef Leaders Institute. We'll bring you coverage later in the show.
The summertime temperatures can attract more than storms. It brings flies. These pesky insects are more than annoyance. They can reduce cattle performance and cost you money.
They can be very tremendous, the economic the negative economic impacts of fly infestation. Traditionally, we would think of decreased weight gain in growing cattle, and stockers and feeder calves, but it can also affect the cow herd too very negatively. At today's market rate, not controlling for flies can decrease your revenue per calf as much as $80 a head. When people think about controlling flies, they think about ear tags, but really to get the most effective use out of fly tags, use sprays or rubs or pour-ons as late into the season as possible, and then whenever the flies become too heavily populated to get good control from that, then put the ear tags in, the fly tags, to try to get those tags in to where they're effective to the end of the fly season. So if you use a pyrethroid ear tag last year, this year you might want to use an organophosphate and keep rotating those back and forth so those flies don't build a resistance.
Angus producers in the East have a new face serving their region. Will Mayfield of Pulaski, Tennessee joined the American Angus Association this summer as the organization's regional manager for the East Coast. We had a chance to sit down with Will during a recent visit to association headquarters.
Well, I grew up in the Angus breed and started showing when I was around 8 years old, and I'm really excited to go back in and give back to those kids to go into the industry, and also to help the industry itself that's offered me as much as it has. The biggest thing I'm looking forward to is just meeting the people, the different people from that region. We also help assist in working sales and shows in the region, which I'm really excited about.
When the Angus Report returns, we'll discuss new breakthroughs in understanding marbling.
Plus, we highlight the ever-popular Beef Leaders Institute.
Visit Angus.org to continue watching this episode of the Angus Report.